Wall Street is burning your front door to save their own skin. Stop looking at the market trends. They are a lie. Intelligence sources just confirmed that BlackRock and Vanguard are in a terminal panic. A secret executive order, signed in the dead of night, has just flipped the kill switch on residential equity. 5 million homes. That is the amount of inventory about to be dumped into the market to backstop a $36 trillion debt bomb that has already detonated. The sell-off hasn't hit the news, but the satellite data from the Treasury's private servers shows a 400% spike in capital flight. Your home isn't a castle anymore. It's a liquidation asset.
The era of financial parasitism is being terminated by executive fiat. The institutional landlord, the entity that treated your basic need for shelter as a high-yield derivative, is currently being dismantled in a move that will redefine the American landscape forever. The directive to ban hedge funds from the single-family housing market is not a mere policy shift. It is a terminal liquidation event designed to purge Wall Street from the American neighborhood. For over a decade, Wall Street firms like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street have operated as hostile economic combatants on domestic soil. Leveraging near-zero-cost capital, they systematically outbid the American middle class, effectively weaponizing the housing supply against the very citizens it was meant to house. They didn't just buy houses, they executed a capital extraction of the American dream, leasing it back to the public at predatory margins. But as the $36 trillion debt wall becomes the primary concern of the Treasury, the mathematics of this parasitism no longer compute. The national ledger is bleeding, and the government can no longer afford to let trillions of dollars in dead equity sit on the balance sheets of private equity firms. By forcing these institutions to divest their massive residential portfolios, Washington is inducing a controlled market implosion. This is a kinetic financial strike. It is designed to force capital out of residential real estate and back into the U.S. Treasury bond market to sustain the national debt. If Wall Street cannot hide its cash in your suburban cul-de-sac, it is forced to buy government debt to survive. This is a hostage exchange where your front door is the primary collateral. Understand the immediate threat to your net worth. This is not a soft landing for the average homeowner. If you own property today, you are holding an asset whose value was artificially inflated by corporate bidding wars and institutional hoarding. When millions of corporate-owned homes hit the market in a forced liquidation, the Z-estimate you rely on will evaporate. You are witnessing a sovereign re-rating of the entire property market. The era of the asset bubble is ending, and the era of hard asset realignment has begun. Technical analysts call this supply-side shock therapy. The operational doctrine is simple. If an asset does not directly contribute to the industrial or demographic survival of the state, it will be liquidated or retasked. Corporate landlords are now classified as non-productive intermediaries. In the current global reset, there is no room for middlemen who do nothing but extract rent from a dying middle class. Wall Street's business model, borrowing cheap money to monopolize essential resources, is officially bankrupt. Analyze the broader front. The seizure of resources in the Orinoco Belt and the housing ban in the American interior are two fronts of the same war. Both are about resource consolidation. The state is securing its internal borders from financial predators with the same intensity it uses to secure foreign energy reserves. This housing ban will flush nearly $2.5 trillion in institutional capital back into the taxable, regulated financial system. It is a domestic asset seizure disguised as a populist victory. Mainstream analysts will tell you this is about housing affordability. They are lying to you. This is about collateralization.
The Treasury requires a liquid housing market to generate the transaction taxes and fee structures necessary to service the interest on the $36 trillion debt. You are not being liberated by this policy. You are being reintegrated into a new economic machine where every square foot of your property is a line item on the national ledger. The panic in the boardrooms of the major REITs is palpable. We are witnessing massive capital flight as institutional investors realize the Petrodollar 2.0 requires every ounce of domestic capital to be under the direct influence of the Treasury. The days of private wealth hiding in the American suburb are over. If you are still holding over-leveraged rental properties or institutional real estate stocks, you are the collateral damage of this transition. When the world's leaders were told at the highest summits to pound sand, the message was clear. The American neighborhood is no longer a global commodity for sale to the highest bidder. Sovereignty has returned to the local level, but it comes with the brutal reality of deflation. Without Wall Street's infinite bid, your property value will meet the reality of a world without a money printer. The corporate landlord is being buried, and the funeral is being funded by the equity you thought was yours. This is the final ledger. The silent front has moved from the oil fields of South America to your own front yard. The era of the rental serf is ending, but the era of the state-regulated owner is just beginning. There is no middle ground left. Why now? Because the velocity of money has slowed to a terminal crawl. Institutional landlords were parking capital in real estate to wait out the inflation cycle, effectively locking that money away from the productive economy. The Treasury cannot allow that capital to remain stagnant while the $36 trillion debt wall looms. By forcing a liquidation, the state is unlocking that capital, forcing it to move and taxing it at every turn. This is economic warfare waged against the investor class to save the administrative state. Hedge funds are already liquidating. They are selling at a discount to beat the rush, and that downward pressure is the first wave of the coming property crash. If you are waiting for a bounce, you are miscalculating the nature of this strike. This isn't a market cycle, it's a structural demolition. The goal is to lower the cost of living just enough to prevent a total social uprising, while simultaneously stripping the balance sheets of the 1%. The corporate landlords thought they were the masters of the system. They forgot that in a sovereign crisis, the state is the only true owner of anything. From the tankers in the Caribbean to the shingles on your roof, every asset is being retallied for the great liquidation. Your home is no longer your castle. It is the newest entry on the Treasury's collateral sheet. The corporate landlord is dead. The keys are being handed back to the state. You have been warned. This is the silent front.